Welcome back. Love Boat Project, episode 36. I am Mike Robertson. Along with me, Mike Taylor. Mike, what is the hardest you've ever tried for an award? And was it harder than the people in this episode tried for awards this week?
Much harder, actually. Much harder. Yeah, I wanted to be Employee of the Month when I was at Burger King as a kid. And it was this thing that eluded me. So it meant something. But any of those awards don't mean anything to me anymore. I'm reset on awards after this episode. Reset.
Just an unbelievable amount of award chatter, both official and trying to earn awards. So.
Unless the trophy says me, should be. It was, man, boy, if you've enjoyed the Stubing bashing before today, or wherever you're listening, today's going to set a new standard, deservedly so. Not doing it for comic effect, but is egregious.
We can do this like Pulp Fiction or anything. Have the end at the beginning, because my walk the plank is Meryl Stubing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And there's nothing in this episode that will change my mind. But
no, I agree.
Yeah, if you like people winning awards, if you like people trying to win fake awards, this is your episode.
This is for you.
Not boring. It's not boring.
No.
Tonight we are here to talk about season 2, episode 11, the Captain's Cup, the Folks from Home, Legal Eagle, and those are titles. Those are legitimate titles.
What was the second one again?
The Folks from Home.
Folks from Home. Okay.
Well, the problem is we'll get into that is not his home. That's just where he went to college.
Yeah, he went to Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, not home. Home for your dorm, I guess.
What a weird.
Original air date, Saturday night, December 2nd, 1978. We have 3 episodes in December. So we are always in play here for Christmas activities, but none.
I'm ready.
None here for episode 11. Not a drop of Christmas. What there was, this is from our friends at IMDb. Meryl expects a prestigious award, but the presenter is not whom he expected.
That's not. Okay. I don't even care. It doesn't even matter.
Doc is attached to elderly George and Gloria Hancock from his hometown. As we said, not true.
His hometown.
Not true at all.
I mean, it is. It is, I guess. That's a whole nother. All right.
Recently divorced Dan Holt runs into his ex-wife's lawyer, Ann Sterling.
I was waiting for him to set up like a whiteboard with paper and just start drawing it out. Gather around. It's like charades, but it's on paper. Come on.
I went the other way. I think I saw him. I think of him more as I think of Bert Convy more as a password man, super password than one lizard draw. But obviously, both tremendous.
I think they're on the same network too. By the way, he was an NBC man, if I'm not mistaken.
There you go. What else is on? Now there is so much to discuss in this episode. I did not go deep, or at least that was my intention, not to go deep. But sometimes you just get pulled in. So let's see how far we go.
I just want to say this segment this week should be called What We Should Have Watched Instead. But fair enough.
The options are not great, so you may change your tune. On NBC, well, you know what? We'll save NBC. On CBS, I feel like CBS is always the more standardized. NBC is just so desperate, they'll put anything on.
They'll throw anything on there.
CBS, Outside Chance. It's a TV movie. Pack a lunch. This one is interesting. A young woman is accused of murdering the jailer who raped her. Then she escapes from the jail and becomes a fugitive. The tagline of this TV movie was, "She went to jail innocent and came out a murderer."
You said Last Chance. I was thinking of like perhaps like, something along the lines of like the Jim Abbott story. Just something like that.
Outside Chance, not Last Chance.
Outside Chance.
Outside Chance.
Not
I guess
Last
outside,
Chance.
Like in the yard.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
she killed,
Like the
maybe she killed the jailer.
Yeah.
No, never heard of anybody that was in this thing, but I did see a note on IMDb that basically much of the story and a good chunk of the cast was in a similar movie 3 years earlier. So I don't know what that's about. But
Wow.
that's for Outside Chance project to discuss.
I wonder if TV movies were just cheap to make, because the level of quality on a lot of these, it's not like they couldn't have been that expensive if they're just rolling out garbage like this, twice in a 3-year period.
Yeah, I mean, and it's December too. Like, we're post sweeps, but you would think this is still theoretically the good stuff.
I mean, Orca was on a couple weeks ago. Last week, Orca was on.
Well, you know what? CBS does not get into the TV movies. That's more of an NBC thing. CBS usually has actual movies. So
that's true.
Maybe they're not ready. Maybe they're still filling in for American Girls.
We never heard what happened.
And I don't think they're coming back.
They just disappeared.
Okay, so this is a little confusing. So NBC ends up airing The Story of Christmas. And like I said, we're in December, so we're going to get a lot of this stuff. The Story of Christmas is narrated by Tennessee Ernie Ford. It appears to have been made in around 1961 or 63. It is very hard to find a lot of information on this. They do have an animated sequence about the nativity.
Oh boy.
I couldn't find it. I was looking for it. I assume there's a Ernie Ford cartoon. Like, he's one of the wise men or something like that.
Wow.
He brings 16 tons of myrrh.
That's fun.
I did find a clip where he's talking to a little boy. It's in black and white. It doesn't look very good. What was on the grid, the grid was something called Sword of Justice.
Yes, please. I don't know what it is, but I'm watching that. What is this?
I'm like, Mike, we have too much going on this week with this episode. We cannot go down the path of Sword of Justice. And then I went down the path of Sword of Justice. And then I saw that the star of Sword of Justice, Dak Rambo, will be on the boat many times. 3 times, I believe, including next season. Wow, so then I was like, well, we can save this for when Dak Rambo is on the boat. And then I was like, we're not going to remember to do this when Dak Rambo's on the boat. So here it is, Sword of Justice.
All right, let's do it. It sounds awesome. What a great title, by the way.
Playboy Jack Cole is framed for a crime that results in the death of his parents. He is sentenced to prison, where he learns a variety of criminal skills. Upon his release, he is determined to exact revenge on those who framed him. It had a American Girls 10 episode run. So don't know what happened there. I kind of think we have to do Sword of Justice project.
I think we do. I mean, it won't take that long.
And the best part is Dak Rambo's IMDb photo is him in a tux, like doing one of the
I love that though.
Yeah, with the finger next to the head. Yeah,
I love that.
A lot going on there. So can't wait to see Dak Rambo and his twin Dirk Rambo.
Stop it. That's not a true statement, what you just said.
That
you does not have a twin.
A true statement. I don't know if Dirk makes the boat, but Dak does.
Is that a real last name? Did you wiki these people?
That we will save for season 3. So whoever's in charge of the hosting that day, write it down.
Oh man, that's great. Dak and Dirk. I hope I do remember.
Back to this. Here's who's in the boat this week. Bert Convy, as we mentioned, as Danny Holt. He is the best known for game show hosts Super Password and Win, Lose, or Draw, whichever one you like better, or
Loved
both.
him.
Maybe you just like both. First of 6 appearances.
Whoa.
For Bert. He takes a bit of a break here. I don't think he comes back to like season 5, but he is our second person in the last 2 weeks, I believe, or 3 weeks, that will be in the series finale. So,
interesting.
I feel like that in my head, that's like, oh, these are the best of the best, right?
I gotta think. I mean, they're gonna maybe. Well, Bob Crane.
I really liked Bert Convy.
I think Bert Convy is so well. Keep in mind, we'll be talking about that last episode on a cruise ship,
right?
If all goes according to plan,
right?
He's so likable. It's not a Bob Crane charisma thing. I just think he comes across as a nice, genuinely nice person.
We can dive into it a little bit more, but it's the Monty Hall playing Monty Hall.
It is.
Bert Convy playing Bert Convy are two different things.
It is. Yeah, Monty Hall, his range is Monty Hall. He was fine. I thought he did a good job. It was classic 70s sitcom stuff.
Exactly.
You know, it was great.
Speaking of range, Pat Harrington as Hank Vosnick, or Vosnick, sorry.
Man of 1,000 dialects, apparently.
Is that Rich Little?
Mm-hmm. You should hear his Nixon.
So he was actually in the pilot that we have not done, the one that was like the TV movie.
As a guest?
As a guest. Maybe one of these days we'll go back and do those. There's a couple pilot ones. I believe there's one with like a whole different crew. I think Dick Van Patten is the doctor on one of them.
Wow.
It's wild.
Yeah, I would. That might be fun to do.
Florence Henderson's back, and we're not getting rid of her as Diane DiMarzo. I spelled DiMarzo about 50 different ways in my notes. I have her as Diane and Diana. I have her as Florence Henderson. I have her as Mrs. Brady. So
it's hard to get past Florence Henderson. We talked about the Monty Hall thing. It's not the same thing, but I can't get past. Not even a Mrs. Brady. It's just she's such an iconic TV star that she's always Florence Henderson. And I always think of fried chicken because that was Wesson commercials.
I mean, she was certainly better than she was in her first appearance. With the inner monologue, Shecky Green.
Didn't she sing in her episode originally?
It was the Christmas episode, actually. I can't believe they got her out of here without singing this week.
Which actually I do have a correction related to Miss Florence Henderson in the Stubbies last year.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was about musical performance. Best song.
Best musical performance. Sorry.
But I think I spoke that I said something to the effect of Loretta Swit and her obligatory musical number.
Right. Which she didn't have.
It was Florence Henderson.
Oh my God.
Because she sang everywhere else. And then but I bring that up because she did not sing in this episode.
Well, luckily, I have not logged the nominations from last year yet. So crisis averted. So what we're saying is one-time Stubby nominee.
One-time Stubby nominee.
Florence Henderson.
Thank you.
She will be in an episode every season except season 9.
Can I guess?
No. What? Guess what? She'll be in every.
Florence Henderson. I thought you were onto somebody new. Okay, I was like, who? Jeanette Nolan? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, how many more times did you say?
Every season that we have left, except season 9, and she doubles up one of the years. Wow. So she will be eligible for the Iron Man award at one point.
Yeah, no kidding.
John McIntyre and Jeanette Nolan as George and Gloria Hancock. They are married in real life. They've been married for 55 years.
No kidding.
Did you recognize them?
He looked familiar to me, but I don't know why he looked familiar to me. It was one of those.
I will point it out when we get to it.
Okay.
I had a chill run down my spine while watching this episode.
Him or her?
Him, from a childhood memory, We will get into it when we get into it.
All right.
Spoiler. Lee Taylor Young was Anne Sterling. This is her only appearance. She's best known for being married to Ryan O'Neal at one point.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And also she was Charlton Heston's love interest in Soylent Green.
Oh.
I don't know if you know this, but Soylent Green is people. It's people.
Yeah. Well, it's just weird because I'm thinking of the number one. It's gross. The and the age difference when you said that, like, she's way younger than Charlton Heston in 1978.
She's very young. She's like 33 in this, but they have her like very lawyered up. So
yeah, they made her hair like they I think they purposely like trying to ugly her up a bit.
Oh, I thought they were totally setting up for like take your hair down. One of these,
so did
I. That's everybody that gets a portal. Wow. Weird choices this week about who didn't. Yeah. Not getting a portal is Cece Cameron, who plays Amber, and probably who had as many scenes as anybody in this.
She was in every scene, which some of them didn't make any sense, and we can talk about that in a bit.
Definitely one that didn't make sense.
Yeah, but then it was, she was all about it too. Like good Lord, she wasted no time.
I think she passes Melissa Gilbert's mom as most egregious portal omission for the season. Absolutely. I think we had her as the initial.
Just in time logged, screen time alone.
Tough break also for George Petrie, Dr. David Barnes, who got a lot of, really great audio acting. Like, hey, I can't hear you.
He was great. Adam, you have 2 hours. Oh, I got a lot on that. Oh boy.
And we'll say this was, I'm just dropping little breadcrumbs here.
Well, I think I know where I know this breadcrumb here. I'm not going to say it, but I know this one.
We'll be saying goodbye to an old friend, and our first if the season ended today, our first guaranteed stubby winner. But we'll get to that as we get to it.
Yep.
Portal report. Pretty. We're just kind of normal. Anything catch your eye there?
No, it was pretty. Nobody's super hamming it up, and nothing memorable. It's just kind of
no. And I think we're kind of just in it now. That's like, this is what you do.
This is it.
And there was nobody that was like a high end comedian kind of
trying to
deal out of it.
Yeah, no, it was all pretty pedestrian, to be honest with you.
Any notes before we get on the boat?
No notes. I'm ready to dig into this sucker.
One quick thing before we do start. We had mentioned last week that Fred Grandy and Bernie Capel wrote the one storyline. It was The Folks from Home. Another solid job, I would say. Our friends. What?
Sappy is get out. But
I don't know what you're talking about. It's
capable.
Dramatic.
What?
Pathos.
Somebody's going for an Emmy.
Art Barr and Ben Jolson actually had their hands in the other two storylines. They wrote The Captain's Cup, but then they were 2 of 5 people involved in Legal Eagle.
Interesting.
So
I don't know why that was.
And a third person, George Farr, I believe, got teleplay credit, and then 2 other people got story by credit. Now, if I remember my television classes, story is the idea, teleplay is like the words. So I don't think we needed 5 people for this, but it almost feels like there were 5 bitter guys who'd gotten divorced recently, and they all had some stuff to say. So.
No kidding. That's funny.
Speaking of things to say, let's get on the boat.
Yeah, let's do it.
The crew is hanging out before everybody boards the ship, and Doc offers up an idea for their 4-day liberty.
Look at that.
Vegas, baby. Vegas.
Yeah.
It's, what did he say? It's just the right kind of medicine or something like that.
perfect. He's all about it.
This is the first kind of example of a good script for old Gopher and Doc.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of find out what everybody else is doing. Well, 66% of what everybody else is doing.
That's right.
Why they can't go with Doc. Gopher has to go to visit his cousin in downtown Burbank. Laugh track.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was about. That must be some real inside. Oh, is there no? I don't know what the joke is.
Is that where they used to say they would put you up for like when you were on a game show?
Maybe. I mean, I know there's stuff down there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Bob Hope. It's the best airport in California, right in Burbank. But I didn't get, and I kept going back to just trying to detect what. I got nothing.
They put the laughs on some weird stuff every week. This is probably some of the lesser egregious things they've laughed about. So
they got these laugh tracks on sale. Like they just bought so much of it that they're like, just put it in wherever. All right.
Julie's going back to Oregon to see her folks. We would imagine this is the first visit since they threatened to be divorced. So I guess Julie's just making sure they're still together. So.
Yeah, that I forgot about them getting divorced. It's funny you bring that up.
We won't be getting Norman Fell coming back to do anything.
No.
Isaac gives Doc a sorry, and there's no reason.
Sorry. He's like,
it kind of felt like it got cut, but
I don't know
so much
anything would have been better. A lot of Doc footage. I know. I like when he said to Julie, "You could be doing the town instead of doing the dishes."
Doing the dishes. Yeah, Doc really is anti-family this week.
Broad
real quick. My theory was that this is Isaac and Roxy Blue hooking up. But Isaac's got to keep it quiet.
Ixnay on the
no more of this love stuff.
Ouble. Yeah, nice call. Doc, I really like that.
Like Mike said, Doc is kind of giving Julie the business about having to go home, and Julie's like, "No, I want to go home." He's like, "If you visit your family once and your dentist twice, well, that's enough suffering for anybody." So Doc's just like doing.
Doc's just like burning. He burned all the bridges to the ground with his entire family, all of his ex. Well, no, he meets his exes.
Why not make this the Christmas episode? Why is he just?
Oh, like Doc gets the spirit. It could be a slight turn, and we could be right there with the story, and it would make sense.
Is it because we're post Thanksgiving, pre Christmas? Is that what he's upset about?
I don't even think it's a Christmas thing. I don't even think that this was intended to be
shot in August.
Yeah, they don't. There's no, but they could have.
Doc splits, and Julie's like, "Why is he so cynical?" This is where Isaac and Gopher really step up. Sour grapes. You know, everybody thinks he's having a good time, but he's really a sad, lonely man kind of stuff.
Hurting on the inside. Yeah, he's a single doctor on a cruise ship. Rough life.
He's had to work twice. He's not that sad for that long. Ditzy blonde. Amber shows up looking for Doc. He's going up the steps, I think, and she's like, "Hey, are you the doctor? I heard about you from a friend."
Word of mouth.
Right. Like that's in 1978. That's the internet right there.
It's almost like his resume.
So, and it's a compliment because not only did somebody talk about you, but obviously they talked about you in high regard. I mean, she got on that boat and was looking for the doctor.
She was looking for Adam Bricker, not the doctor. She was like, stupid
like George Hancock was looking for the doctor. Speaking of George Hancock, Doc somehow just plows into his wife on the steps.
I was when I watched that, I was like, well, first of all, I watched this episode 3 times, which is unheard of.
Too many.
Right?
Yeah.
And on this part, I thought I had some theories and I had to see him through it. Did the injury that caused happen here? And it's like, that was my thought. He knocked her down. Although I have the official medical reasons for the procedure he's performing. So
Yeah.
later,
Yes.
but it did. I was like, oh, maybe
Spoiler,
this
turns into a Barnaby Jones about halfway
is a
through.
crazy. It would cross between Barnaby Jones and Emergency on a boat.
So Doc apologizes for being a klutz, says he's a
Yeah.
doctor. That's where we get the introductions to George and Gloria Hancock. And then George is like, let's go stow our gear. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet Amber. And when he turned to say this, I realized I know that face. I know that face anywhere. And then it turns out I knew his wife's face as well. Those two portrayed another married couple about 6 years later in the cinema classic Cloak and Dagger.
Cloak and Dagger with Dabney Coleman?
They are the villains who kidnap Henry Thomas.
Oh, wow.
I have not seen that movie in a very long time. I am not swearing this is true. I am 90% sure they chloroform a child in that movie. They at least attempt to chloroform a child.
Well, interesting.
Different time.
And interesting as well, we will see Dabney Coleman next episode.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So close to a Cloak and Dagger prequel.
Yeah. A Dabney Coleman and a McClanahan. Just want to say.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not done. There's more.
Well, don't get too excited.
No. I'm just saying.
So much of this week to get through.
Oh, that's right. I forgot what we were doing.
Anyway,
yes.
Shout out Cloak and Dagger Project.
Yeah, no kidding. Good luck.
They go upstairs. Doc asks Amber if she's ever seen a real live stethoscope. So he's over those family blues.
Yeah, he's done. He's fine. Well, because remember, she was like, "Would you have office hours?" And he was like, "I'll make a cabin call." So he's already off to her cab, and I don't even think she's checked in yet. No. She's going to find some room.
No, we are leaving this scene. Doc is fine. Doc's got no problems.
100% fine.
So what happens between this scene and his next scene? I have no idea. So.
Something traumatic happened between her and him. Something. That's why. Well, okay.
Diane DeMarzo is boarding the ship, and she is carrying what looks to be the Prince of Wales trophy awarded to the best team in the Eastern Conference NHL playoffs. Wouldn't you have a box or a crate or something for some, like they don't,
Mike, you don't know anything about trophies, obviously. You don't box up such a fine piece of forged metal like that. It probably just says cup. You don't do that. The Stanley Cup, they walk around with that thing like as the Stanley Cup. They don't put that thing in a box.
They just roll it down steps.
It's probably the same thing. This thing's all dented. I think it's funny how she says she's tired of haul around this cup, but she's not like pantomiming that this thing weighs a ton.
Yeah.
This thing is the cheapest.
Oh yeah.
Garbage. It's probably wood. It's probably
this is bad. This is bad coffee cup acting right here. This is
awful.
So, you could have stowed it though, at the very least.
It like pull it on a thing. She's just carrying it. She walks on like, how are you at work and you have to hug a trophy? What is this about?
Well, it's probably her Italian heritage. Diane DeMarzo.
Oh.
Hey,
that's funny. She's gonna make sauce in her room.
When I think of Florence Henderson,
yep,
I think of real paisan.
She's gonna be in there making that sauce. You know what I mean? Like
gravy. She's making that Sunday gravy.
Storch's family.
As she walks on the ship crew member Hank Vosnick is making catcalls from above. We love a crew member.
Love a crew member, especially a new one.
Apparently he's fresh on the job.
First day, maybe.
I don't know if he got his orientation or not, but he has learned the ways of the ship. He is hooting at women.
Well, quick question, Mike. What the hell is he doing? He's on a ladder with a can of WD-40 and his hand on a pipe. And I'm like, what do you... I'm no handyman, sir. I'm not a handyman. But I know that he wasn't doing anything. Like, what? Whose director was like, get on that ladder, grab the WD-40, hold on to the pipe?
Look,
what?
Pat Harrington,
What is your role?
America knows you know your way around a hammer. Let's give him something else.
But there was no tool belt. Like there was no like rag in his hand. The whole time, like, what is he? And then the second thought I had
the second thing he's doing in his job is worse. So we'll get to
absolutely. Was he doing a Schneider impression?
I'm not sure. I don't know if this was supposed to be some sort of send up of Schneider, but it's like,
is that his normal voice?
I also don't think I've ever seen him in anything else except as Schneider.
No, I don't know who he is. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is he? Because it was obvious. I wonder what this guy's real voice sounded like.
Sterling Winthrop.
Oh, except he couldn't pronounce Champs-Élysées.
So he's making a pass at Florence Henderson. She's coming back at him with a real big zero. Julie runs over and just starts lying. She's like, I know you're new here, but making leering comments at the passengers is not your job.
Didn't Doc just do that like a minute ago? Isn't that what the basis of the show? I mean, it happens all the time. What are you talking about?
Right. Yeah. So Julie's just lying. She follows that up with then lying to Florence Henderson and saying this never happens. So Julie's just lying. But then she realizes, I guess the cup gave her away who she was. So
yeah. Oh, like she couldn't see it when she walked up this giant cup. That you have to hug with half your body. Oh, hey, you must be. Mm-hmm.
We find out that Diane is the press agent for the Winthrop family, who will be presenting Meryl Steubing with the Winthrop Cup.
You don't see me wearing my captain's
hat. Captain of the Year.
There is no captain's hat for me this week, Mike. I refuse.
This felt like a storyline right at you. Right at you.
I texted you the other night and said, Captain of the Year? I wanted to say so much more than that. You were like, save it. Save it. Oh, Mike.
So I will say this. In classic Love Boat fashion, they give no details on the qualifications to be Captain of the Year. I assume you have to be a captain. We find out that this is the 53rd time that this has been given out. They started giving it out in the 20s. If you do the math there, this is 1978, 53 years. That means they gave it out in like the late 20s. If you remember, the late 20s, a booming time for the country, and definitely a time that you want to be highlighting captains of fancy boats. So,
well, no wonder the trophy's a hunk of crap. I mean, it was made back then. Nobody had any money. It's just like it's made of driftwood and silver spray paint.
Do you think it's like any captain, like could be Crunch, could be like
Kangaroo.
Bobby Clark, could be like Buzz Aldrin,
could be Captain Munnerlyn. There's so many captains it could be.
Aaron Dragon.
So. I was going to go there. Well, it's just weird because look, I just don't understand what this is based on. There's no explanation. It's this rando mystery cup that's given to captains. Again, Crunch, Kangaroo, who knows, Munnerlyn. It's just this was just begging for just one additional.
Yeah.
You know, the shipping line wants to. It could have been anything. Maybe that's specific to their shipping line. Just anything.
And it's funny, in a couple things I read, like plot summary type things or whatever, people are doing that extra work and saying it's best captain in the princess line, but that's not
what they say on the episode.
Right.
So
and
they're inferring a lot.
Unless the Winthrops own the princess, why the hell would they give it exclusively to a commercial cruise liner?
But if it was, they would have said it.
Right.
They would have said the best captain in the Pacific Fleet. Like it would have been one of those things.
Which we know is not true.
Captain
Norton's better.
Way better. Much better accent, too.
We don't know if he had an accent.
I just assume. He just looked like he had one.
We never saw him. We saw the guy who said Captain Norton.
Oh, that's right. Okay, he had an English accent. It all makes sense now. There you go.
Shockingly, Stubing overheard all this and ran down the steps because he was available. And he is very excited to, quote, get his hands on your cup. We find out how excited he is, not just to win the award, but to meet this Mr. Winthrop. And basically has no time for any other discussions because he gets called to the bridge for some reason.
Can I say on this? So you make a very good. Look, you're setting it up brilliantly here. He has the trophy. He sees the trophy. He knows the trophy he's going to get. Right. He's a little extra jazzed because okay, I can see it. It's for me. They're going to give it to me.
It's a big trophy. It'll look good in his now tiny office.
Right. He won't be able to see around it. He can eat donuts out of it. Just put the donut in the trophy. He's such a jackass, dude. Like, I was so bothered. This whole storyline is because, yeah, I want the trophy, but I want this guy to present it and make a big how do you do about it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. You're supposed to, you'd think a real captain would be like, you know what? This award really belongs to all my crew, or, you spread that out. Not him. He's like, really, thanks, I'm out of here. What a
shouldn't this ceremony take place on land?
Well, he wants, they don't give out full of people to see it. That's why
they don't give out like the MVP trophies in the middle of the game. Like,
if you do it at a dinner at the cruise, you've got like 600 people you have a whole audience.
I gotta tell you,
clap and you got to make a speech. He's so selfish, man.
That award night captain's table. Not only was the crowd sparse, the actual table looked pretty bad.
Weak. Yeah, I mentioned that. I was like, this is a very weak captain's table. Oof.
More to come on the prestigious Captain's Cup, Winthrop Cup.
Get comfy.
Danny Holt arrives to check in, and he quickly establishes everything you need to know about Danny Holt and his character and what you're going to be hearing for most of the episode.
He just lays it all out.
Yep. Which, you know what? Can't be every episode. Can't be every actor. But once in a while, that's fine. And it's actually impressive that it was Bert Convy and not like an old comic, because it definitely had like the rat-tat-tat of like if Rodney Dangerfield was playing Danny Holt, it would have made sense.
I totally agree. And again, I thought, going back to the point we said before about Bert Convy, I just thought he was really good. He's so likable. Maybe he's not, but he comes across that
absolutely
not Bob Crane charisma, but just likability. And I think that really,
it was that effortless charm that we do like, and we don't see it very often.
Mm-mm.
Because again, it's like, this isn't Shakespeare, right? If you go into it with a good attitude and you take your swings, that this is going to be, I'm going to be on this show. If it sucks, who cares?
Yeah, have fun.
Not my show. Those are the best performances we've seen for the most part.
I agree. Have fun. Don't be a Norman Fell. Like, and just
the best performances we've seen. If I had to make a short list, of stubby best men
for this season,
they're all the big swings. It's Billy Crystal. It's Richard Mulligan. It's the cruise ship Casanova. Honestly,
Dawson was good. There's a lot of good people.
Honestly, might be Bert Convy.
Bert Convy was great. I think in this episode alone, I thought he definitely, and we can talk about I thought he stood out as the best of everybody.
Yeah.
It's on a performance level.
I agree. So yeah, he is divorced. And that's mainly his personality trait. He's been saving up for this trip since D-Day. Gopher's like World War II. He's like, no, my divorce. It's a lot of that. There was a funny line when he said that he's looking for single men, and he's like, to marry my wife. Gopher says, I'm single. And he says, thanks, pal. You're much too young to die.
Yeah, that's funny. That was funny. That made me giggle.
So great. He had me there. He had me right there.
Yeah, that was funny.
Weirdly, though, Bert Convy did not look behind him when he was leaving the check-in desk, because right behind him is Ann Sterling, attorney at law.
Don't mess with her.
Turns out Ann is here as part of the Bar Association group, which again, appreciate the little touches, guys.
I appreciate the little touches, but then I wrote on here like they take Bar Association cruises. Is that a thing? Am I being nitpicky?
It's a conference.
It's a conference. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's not great, especially divorce lawyers.
That works for me. Yeah. I just need something. It didn't take much. I just needed a little something to link it all up, but I can go with that.
Here we find out that Anne is a divorce attorney. That's how she paid for the cruise. The cruise is expensive this week.
Was it more than what, 600 and
1,500 divided by 6? So it's
whatever
it was a couple weeks ago for
$38.
Yeah. And explains that nobody wins in a divorce except her. So we're kind of on the track here of what we're going to get for most of that plot line.
Absolutely. We know where we're going.
Interesting thing. What percent? Well, let me just do it this way. So I was curious because this is our first female attorney on the show. We've had several male attorneys.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I guess maybe there weren't as many female attorneys back then as there are today. According to the National Bar Association, in 1960, about 3.5% were women of all attorneys.
Wow. Okay.
That doubled in 1970.
Domestic or as a whole international? Just domestic?
I assume domestic. I assume it's the American Bar Association.
Okay.
By 1970, kind of doubled that number. By 1980, so just a scant year after this episode, 37%.
Wow.
So there was a real boom in the 70s for female attorneys, and I think that is now reflected on the vote.
Wonder what it is now.
Oh, it's got to be close to 50-50, I would think.
That's what I would think.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's something that I didn't really think about until I looked it up, but we probably, as we get to we only have 3 episodes. 2 after this, we have 2 more episodes, and then we're in 1979. So we're going to start evolving into something.
1980s, here we come.
80s, right?
Yeah.
So things like that are going to probably be more prominent. So
absolutely. I like that. That's good.
We followed up with, and I timed it, 36 seconds of stock footage.
Dude, this was crazy. I expected, okay, ticker tape. Okay, long shot. Okay, helicopter shot. Like, what? They're already trying to space things out.
You know what? If you're going to do this early, just cold open the show. Just do a cold open and then do the credits. Like, because it's so blatantly, I don't need to see the ship leave in stock footage. It's not the real ship.
No, so. There's nothing, it adds 0 value.
Yeah. Like you said a couple weeks ago, they're nicer stock footage videos, but I don't need more of them.
No, God, no, I don't need more of those.
Are we never getting the Heineken load again?
I mean, I hope. We haven't had the sticks. We haven't seen the sticks in a while. So
yeah, but we did get action stubing.
We did get action stubing
later on. All right. Doc is jumping rope, and what by now we have determined is the exercise room of the boat, which is just a stairwell. But this is where the joggers were, the pizza joggers were a couple weeks ago.
That's right.
This is where everybody jogs.
That's where Wally and Alex were last week when they tried to accost Julie.
Yeah. So I don't know why this tiny parcel of land is.
I don't know. I think that's where the early morning ballet was taking place too.
I think you're right. I think that's where Anson Williams was running when Julie tracked him down. Yeah.
Where Stubing almost died.
Right. It's the only flat land on the boat.
I did notice something about here, and it was more like, so I see Doc working out, and I thought, did he get up and put those clothes on specifically to work out? Or did he go with the canary yellow polo shirt with the canary yellow short shorts and a belt and a watch and just happened to see a jump rope? Like what was the sequence there? Because if you went out like that to work out with, then workout clothes in 1978 were really odd.
But we know people have workout clothes because here come the Hancocks in their workout clothes.
Yeah, but I did. They were workout pants. They had like normal. I mean, they weren't wearing shorts.
Well, no. But no, I believe workout clothes exist. I think we've seen them, but yeah, it's a lot of odd choices by Doc in terms of where to exercise and what to wear when you are exercising.
It's so
But
strange.
this almost felt like Bernie Capel just flexing about what a good jump roper he was. Write that in.
Hey,
Hey Fred, write this in.
write this in. Watch this. Freddie, dude, that
After,
guy, when he crossed it over, I saw it and I was like, that was legitimately pretty impressive.
yeah, no, I mean, like it almost feels like we're gonna get like a double Dutch scene here in a few years. There's gonna be a couple kids on the boat, and he's gonna jump in.
Hey,
It's how I
when
used to do it in Baltimore.
well, I thought you went to school there. Whatever. I live.
You ever
Where'd
see The
you live?
Wire?
The
That's my life.
Wire. Yeah. Quick
Um,
question before we move on to this. So we have George Hancock and we have Gloria Hancock. When they come into the scene, they run and then they take 2 steps back and then they run. You remember that
right.
part? And
That's
it
a lap.
reminded. What is it? What is that thing that they're doing? Well, anyway, it not so much that. It reminded me at late 70s, early 80s Dallas Cowboys offensive line. They used to do this thing before they'd get set. They'd get down and they'd go up and down. Do you remember this at all?
No.
Like they're in the middle of a play. Danny White, quarterback, would come up, and they would all before the ball was snapped, he would say something. They would all get up and then get back down and set and snap it. And it just reminded me of that, what they were doing. And I was like, do you remember this? Obviously you don't remember this.
No. I was just confused about why they grabbed his arms like they were going down the yellow brick road and just ran back and forth 4 feet.
They were trying to find somebody to give that doctor ring to. That's what it was. Like, what an incredible,
so
this works out perfectly.
Yeah, so a lot of plot here. So George and Gloria had already run a lap. They run into Doc. They grab him to take another lap. They literally go as far as the steps and then turn back around. In the middle of this, Doc reveals that his parents have died. You know, not recently, but they're no longer with us. And also that it looks like Gloria had an Orioles hat on, and so that he makes the connection that they're from Baltimore, and therefore Johns Hopkins is where Doc went to medical school. So another note, which I appreciate. Again,
I like the little clues.
It's not great that the most backstory from the characters, a lot of them happen in episodes that the actual actors are writing. The whole Isaac Oakland thing.
Yeah, they're writing their own
thing. Half of Isaac's backstory is those 2 episodes.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so
it is interesting.
Something to learn from other writers.
Yeah.
George has a flask and offers it to Adam. He thinks it's going to be scotch. Nope, it's turnip juice.
Why would you assume that? And again, I'm scotch in a flask, Mike. Is that a
turnip juice?
Is that something? Well, not even. If you're going to put liquor in a flask,
if somebody came to you with a flask and they said it's one of these 2 things, what would you think it was going to be?
Probably the alcoholic beverage, because it is in a metal flask.
So I think that's fair.
That's fair.
That said, it would be weird if the old guy was running with scotch. Every answer is bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's kind of where all this begins. So with that little exchange, the Doc we saw in the first scene and the Doc we saw in the second scene have combined to give us the Doc for the rest of the episode.
Well, really, I mean, the bond started when he gave her the life-threatening injury in the beginning, as soon as she boarded the ship. She's probably just making it worse right now. Nobody knows it.
That turnip juice can't be helping either.
No.
Schneider, very inconspicuous in his blue jumpsuit, is lurking around the deck. So in this scene, its work consists of him sitting on the steps and polishing the banister.
Did he have a drink in his hand?
Walk up and down.
Yeah, like they had to move out of the way. He's just... Nobody said anything.
Here's the thing. You clean the banister before people get on the boat. Maybe you clean it at night. You don't clean it in the middle of the first pool day. That's the filthiest the banister's going to be.
Well, now, because I was confused again, I assumed he's some sort of repairman with a can of WD-40. Because now that the mystery continues, now he's what sort of handyman is just wiping something down? Oh, I'll fix it. Wipe, 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 wipe. It doesn't make.
I feel like old Hank was a bad hire by somebody. I assume Julie, but I don't know.
Zero references. I wouldn't hire that guy.
One day. He's sitting on the thing or whatever. Steubing shows up and runs into Florence Henderson, who is trying to say something to Steubing, and he does this thing that he has done now at least 3 times this season. So this is a consistent character trait this season. So I'll give him that.
Add it to the list.
But she's trying to say something, and he just cuts her off and answers his own question and does it 3 times. And so therefore she's probably trying to tell him that Winthrop is not going to be on the boat.
Yeah.
And instead he strong arms her into a dinner invite, and I'll see you later. And boom, the 2-finger salute.
Stupid salute. The only thing is, right, if she's a press agent, you would think that she would know how to handle this guy a little better. Steubing's not exactly, the genius level person she's got to deal with.
And you would think the Winthrops would have top flight PR people,
right?
So
she'd just be like, "Look, he's not here."
Yeah.
Sorry. You don't want the trophy? Okay.
You want the cup or not?
Right? Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'll go back. I'm on a cruise. I don't care.
I don't care even a little bit.
I'm
not going to end up fucking Schneider.
I'm going to deal with this guy like borderline assaulting me for 30 hours. And then I'm just like, nah, bye-bye. And then I'm like, but I love it. It's so stupid. It just got off the rails so quick. This whole fucking episode is just one car crash after another. It's just...
Steubing does offer. He does say he's going to write a glowing review to her PR firm. Like, who's reading that? Like, oh look, it's a glowing review from the captain of a boat.
He has just this air of self-importance, like an unearned because of his job. Like he's so.
So
ego.
As someone who has been saying for a while now that I don't care what they pick, just pick one. There are shades of a few episodes now where did you watch Frasier? Not Cheers, but Frasier.
Was not a fan.
Okay.
I tried.
So Frasier Crane, one of the great comedic TV characters of all time, had many layers, but one of his layers was this offended person at this. There's a great meme where it's like, I am wounded, and he's just so easily offended. And I think that's something that they've been doing here a little bit. Gotcha. Not every time, but I think it is something that he could live in, where it's like, it's a little bit of the Lussard, it's a little bit of the Inspector Gadget, but it's also this thing where he's just very self-righteous and very self-important. And all that stuff, the crew has to kind of work around it, but it doesn't really affect anything, right? Like, no lives were lost for this cup.
It's just a high degree of insecurity.
Yeah.
For someone in that role.
Yeah.
Like, I just wouldn't expect it. And to go to these lengths again, like, oh, there's my trophy. I can't wait to have my trophy. There's my cup. Where's my presentation? Come to my dinner. It's all like he makes this whole cruise. There's one big ego stroke as far as this episode is concerned.
But again, I can live with that as long as then we don't have to sit through 3 weeks of him talking about what a military vessel is and all this nonsense, right?
I get that. You know what?
Delusions of grandeur, Steubing. You can get me somewhere with that,
right?
A little bit, I think there's something
secede from the country, Steubing. Like, let's get a seaboard militia. I want that guy. Like, no, I'm with you. It's just not it doesn't fit.
He's pompous. He's self-important, and he's always hungry. These are character traits I can go with. And
it's always about food and meals.
Kind of disregards women, because that thing I said about him not listening, it's all women. Yeah.
He just put him on the pay no mind list. He just talked over.
But who's the first person he calls when his award thing is getting screwed up? Julie.
Call Miss McCoy.
All right. Hank is done leering for now, so he goes over to Diana to see what's up. And she kind of explains the rest of the plot that we're in for here, where she works for Sterling Winthrop. He's supposed to be on the boat to present the thing, but he's not. And that's bad news for her. I don't really understand how she could lose her job because of this. Like,
it doesn't make any sense.
For the guy who's not on the boat.
He didn't make the ship.
Yeah.
So how's she going to get in trouble because he isn't on the ship? Let's see.
Right. What's like Stooping has this kind of pull. Like,
no, that's so dumb.
Hank offers to help in any way. She looks him up and down, then she invites him back to the cabin. So
so was she setting the trap now? Like, maybe trap's not the right word.
I don't think trap
was she leading. Word. Okay, maybe it is the right word. I felt like from this point when she's like, "Oh, come back to my, can you make it 10? Can you make it 5?" She knew what she was doing to get him to do what she needed him to do.
I would posit this is the most egregious leading on
100%.
Or straight up lying to that wasn't like a con that we've seen in an episode. Because even Roxy Blue...
Wasn't this kind of a con, though, in a way? Because this guy was a rube, essentially.
No. Well, I don't know if he was a rube, but...
If it wasn't for that phone call...
With a New England accent, right? That was Boston, I guess.
Was it Peter Griffin? He kind of sounded like Peter Griffin.
It's from Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Anyway... He should have known better. I would think a handyman from New England would know better, but maybe he was just like, whatever. I'll get in here. I'll do the dance. So
Schneider, the real Schneider, wouldn't have done it.
Nope.
Be like, no way, Mrs. H. No way.
I wonder if that's how he got the job, because he knows the wife of Aubrey Skarsgård.
All tied. Thanks, Skipper. That's why.
Hey, Skip.
Poor Schneider.
Danny's at the pool bar, and Gopher asks why he's still sitting here alone. He gets off a few marriage is terrible singers. So
yes, he took this and just. It's funny. Isaac not making a drink, but just cleaning a glass, wiping a glass, like stereotypical.
Lot of bar scenes this week. No drinks.
No drinks.
Isaac and Gopher notice the getaway sticks on Anne. And they start to point it out, and Danny turns around and he's like, "Oh no!"
Ay caramba! What did she say? In Dracula in drag,
a vampire
in drag
in a swimsuit. So yeah, we find out that this, in fact, was his ex-wife's divorce attorney, and I imagine we're going to hear about it once or twice.
I have to bring something up, and it's sort of awkward. I've seen it a lot this season in pool scenes. I don't know quite the terminology to use, so I'm a little embarrassed to bring this up. But
I know what you're going to say.
Why would you go to the pool with like hose on?
Oh, that's not what I thought.
Like all the ladies have hose on.
Any hose?
Yeah. Florence Henderson has it with her shorts. This lady, oh, look at the legs on that filly. She had them on. Most of them have it on. Except for like the drive-by bikini shots that you get now.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
No. I'm saying why would you go to the pool? Is it
circulation issue?
They all have diabetes. I don't know what's going on, but it's really something I keep seeing.
I did not notice it, but now that you say it, you're right. I definitely saw that Anne was wearing them. So
it's weird.
Was that a look? Was that a look in 1978? I have no idea.
I don't know.
All right. We need to get a fashionista from the late 70s on.
Please.
Is Mr. Blackwell available? We can get Mr. Blackwell on.
Dr. Oz.
Next week, Mr. Blackwell. All right. Hank shows up at Diana's cabin, and she asks him to pose as Mr. Winthrop. This is what we're doing.
Here we go.
They're going to try and fool Steubing with the trophy presentation.
Sure.
Sheridan Winthrop is a millionaire, philanthropist, playboy.
Like Robin Masters.
Right. Hank is willing to help with the ruse, but when Diana offers to pay him,
I was hoping you were going to say this line. This is a cringy. Okay, go ahead.
Hank
I'm sorry.
tells her, hey, sweetheart.
Rolls up a pack of smokes in his sleeve. Yeah,
I'm not into money. I'm into love. Sure, Schneider. Sure.
Yeah, great. Schneider, Peter Griffin, whoever you are.
And then they smooch to seal the deal.
Well, the word
he smooches her to seal the deal.
He smooches her to seal the deal. That was, jeez. Boy, she's taking one for the team immediately.
Her team. Her team.
Well, that's true. This is part. I mean, she did what she did.
Yeah.
It's still weird.
It's
the whole thing feels weird.
It's very weird. It gets weirder. Well, it doesn't even get weirder. It just stays the same weird, but we get like 5 scenes of it. So
yeah, it's the same. Yeah, it's this. It's
we're basically in a bottle episode now for the next 2 acts.
Yep.
Act 2. Gopher runs into Amber on the deck, and they have awkward flirting. Julie walks by to make sure nobody missed the fact that we had Gopher and Amber on the deck having awkward flirting.
Well, it was weird. She was like, Gopher and Amber.
That was so weird.
Like, she just got on the boat. You don't even know. It was a weird. I don't understand it was a weird.
I think they were trying to establish that she obviously went right for Doc, and nobody touches Doc's stuff, I guess. And Gopher definitely was like hesitant to do
the pecking order, sort of. Yeah, right. Yeah, I get that. Well, plus, as we'll see later, she keeps popping up.
Oh yeah,
like for no reason.
She's got a lot to do.
She's got a lot to do.
Amber came on this boat for one reason: to help in a medical procedure.
That's right. That's it.
Oh, God. All right. But I'm already sick of this story. Back in Damasio's cabin, Hank is getting briefed on everything he needs to know about being Winthrop. He speaks a very upper class accent. So we get Schneider doing an accent for a while.
Yeah.
It's just a little dish. It's just a little. It's
teeth clenching. Right.
It says a name that I assume was an actor that sounds like that, but I could not catch what name he was saying.
British Army.
Yeah.
I think again, growing up, I watched a lot of British television, and I think he was a guy, not like a Benny Hill guy, not like that humor, but I think he had a show and one of his characters was like this British Army guy, and that's why he did that whole salute thing.
It's like, oh, I'd like to feel it, but why? It's like one of those things or something like that. It's just,
it's a little obscure.
Anyway, we get a lot of it.
Too much of it.
Yeah. Smash cut. It's dinner time. Bert Convey has an unexpected table mate. That's right. Dan Sterling.
Who saw that? See that coming?
No. What? Julie kind of botched that, but how would Julie know? There's not a form that says, "Are you anybody's ex-wife's attorneys?"
Well, you got to figure Julie's in everybody else's beeswax. The Amber thing that go she. And the other thing, too, if you notice in these scenes with Julie, she doesn't have a name tag on. And I know maybe that may seem a little like small to point out, but it's a little odd to me considering the men are in full uniform. They're working. I'm assuming she's working as well for this whole run of being outside, inside, black shirt, the white pants, no name tag at all. No ID, like showing she worked there. So I'm like, I just think it's odd.
I don't think she wears it when she's wearing like a fancy cocktail dress or evening gown, but you are right. The black shirt, white pants, running out of the ballroom look.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting.
and she's doing work.
Yeah.
I don't know, just something to,
Bert or Danny Holt takes this in great stride. Dracula in drag. Like, and just keeps chipping at Danny, and he's not pleased, and this goes on for a while, and it's like it's probably a little too much, but the acting is so good or enjoyable that it doesn't bother me.
I liked it because I think I just enjoyed seeing Bert Convey irritated. So the more she did it in a comedic way, I thought he did a great job. So when she, you're clumsy.
This is one of those, man. If this was a different actor, this would have been one of those. We would have been just, I don't care.
Yeah, it could have been bad if it was like Captain Dave. Who was it? Captain Dan?
Yeah, Captain Dave.
Greg?
Yeah,
Captain Dave. Any
Captain Dave just brooding. So.
He's good at that. Just mad. But yeah, I agree. If it wasn't, I thought they had really good chemistry together too.
Speaking of Captain, the captain's table is back. It's back a lot this week.
You see where he's sitting though. He's sitting at the head again.
Yeah, I did notice that. I actually went back to double check because I was like, well, I guess he's at the head, but the table's not as nice a table either.
It's
so
cheap table. It's like vinyl covered,
ugly table.
Oh, who are those other? Yeah, very ugly. Not very captain's like. Captain like.
Go to hell, guy who toasts Stubing for the honor of sailing with the captain of the year. Who are you?
Yeah, shut it up. Shut it. That's why you weren't on the portholes, and that's why we don't even know who you are.
Oh my!
Get out of here.
He's
like a plant. Stubing put him there. He paid him to be there and to say that. This fragile ego.
Stubing's mad though because he had to wait like 30 minutes for dinner.
So mad. He's waiting for ketchup. They're out of ketchup again. He's just having a rough night. I bet you he eats like chicken tendies for dinner. Little chicken tenders, maybe a TV dinner.
Dino bites.
He's got like the palate of like a 5-year-old. That's what I figured. Donut at 3, just lots of applesauce, chocolate milk.
So when he gets toasted by this schmuck, he's like, well, it's not official till tomorrow night because that's how things work. Like,
yeah, he already saw that. Just give me the trophy.
It's not the presidential inauguration. Like, you're not the Captain's Cup elect.
Like, you don't need a day lead up. Like, just she should have come on the boat.
It's not a real award. This Playboy probably just picked you because he wanted to let his press agent have a boat ride.
Yeah, who knows? It's
find love. And find love, not money. Love.
Unless, maybe we look at it, maybe we spin it in a way to where, maybe Stubing feels he'll never live up to Stubby. So maybe an award like this is more meaningful to him because he hopes it'll be meaningful to Stubby.
Got a closet full of those babies.
Stubby's won the same cup 52, 48 years in a row. It says Stubby.
These awards are not named Merrills.
No. Never.
Stubing is cranky because again he hasn't eaten and he's not getting enough attention. He calls Julie over to find out what's up with Winthrop. Julie fills him in that he likes the ladies. And this is kind of where I had the thought that Stubing is the character they're going with for a little bit, which is that he's just like, well, I mean, he wouldn't rather have dinner with me, and then he at least gets it. But then he sends Julie to go fetch Winthrop.
Yeah. Did he get it, or did the laugh track help him get that point across? Because if he got it, he wouldn't have sent her to go check on whoever.
He's got a little earpiece.
Yeah, just so selfish. He put so much effort into like the presentation of this cup that he does. This is day 2 of him trying to get his cup.
It's like that wedding planning he did for the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
He just cares about the weirdest things. Doc is dining with the Hancocks, who are talking about how they kind of meet different people in their adventures, and they consider them family. They have a guy in Japan, and now they think that Adam can be their family on the high seas.
I can pump the brakes here, weird people. I don't know what kind of cult you're trying to sign Adam Bricker to. This is too much.
I just think they're getting kidneys on deck just in case. So.
Just maybe she's woozy from the internal bleeding or something, but it just I just had a real problem
medical
with this.
emergency.
We just want to drive the word family.
Oh,
like contractually, they had to say family 35 times this episode.
Amber's like, snooze fest. So when Gopher shows up and he's like, I'm going dancing, Doc is like, go ahead. She runs out of that room.
Bye.
She's just like, see ya, old man. Like,
well, let me ask you then. So in the beginning, when he was leaving with Amber to go wherever they were going to go,
right?
Do you think that happened, or did did the massive injury that he caused to Mrs. Hancock change the trajectory?
You know what? I would say it probably did happen. Or I don't know. Does Doc like set the scene for later on? So maybe it didn't happen. But I mean, moves were made with intention. But I feel like
he's kind of like bowing out. Like,
he's definitely bowing out.
He's saying like, "Oh, I choose," but it's not the same thing. You're gonna sit here with these guys apparently for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and sing songs that 70-year-olds sing. You're gonna do that?
That's your life now.
That's your life now.
But it's funny. We talked about it a little bit the last couple of weeks, where we didn't really love this new kind of fangless Adam Bricker.
So what happened?
If you go with our theory that these are shot all out of order, and if this one was moved up earlier in the season, it does make a lot more sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
If this one came early in the season, which based on Julie's hair, I think is where we're at. This is like an early season.
I agree.
One. This is pre the Loretta Swit flirtation where he almost moved to Russia. This is last week. He's like helping Mona. Like, who cares what some of the stuff Doc's been doing lately? So it would have made more sense if they had actually, released these things in production order. So.
Or it would have made sense what something you said in the beginning. If this was the Christmas episode, this whole thing could have been spun so easily and so nicely into a Christmas story.
Yeah. Oh God. You know what they should have? They should have done an actual Ghost of Christmas Past thing.
You could have.
And then she could have not made it.
Who does Captain Stubing play in a Christmas? If you do a Christmas Carol, can you give me the crew? Like how would you do it? Who are the ghosts?
The ghosts?
If you take the
Stubing's Past, Julie's, Isaac's Present, and Future is Ted McGinley.
Banged up. Ted McGinley.
Yeah, because he's on the boat eventually.
Fair enough.
Julie knocks on Winthrop's door, but he gets Florence Henderson instead, and she's making excuses. Julie takes all these excuses as that Winthrop is hooking up with Florence Henderson, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I see her walk away, and she's like, "Oh."
Mm-hmm. Julie's just the little minx narrator this week. She's a Cheshire cat.
She's everyone's.
We are already.
We're flying along this episode. It's weird that I thought that there was more meat on the bone on this episode. Not that we're done, but
we're in a loop. We're in a loop here with
it's weird
with two of the storylines, basically. So now we're just getting a lot of Schneider doing his impression of a character. He's learning about all the fancy rich things like polo and Paris and politics and all this stuff. And we're just in it now for a while.
And then like you said, the Danny Holt and Ann Sterling, it's sort of that same loop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just happen to like Bert Convy.
Yeah, we like Bert Convy.
It's the same exact thing. Back at dinner, Doc and the Hancocks are having a sing along, as you pointed out, old people songs. So,
how mad was that waiter?
That was checking amazing. His watch.
He was pissed.
And then in the background, there was another guy kind of doing one of these, the Norman Fell shrug lean. But that first guy, there's another scene coming up too. Really nice direction this week. Whoever directed it, way to go. I don't know if it was our friend Paul Stanley, but
hello everybody.
But those wait staff were pissed.
Yeah, they're pissed. I think the guy in the red jacket was having none of it.
George
He
and
can't go up and
Gloria.
go. But the thing is, they're just. What's the waiter doing? They're just having drink. That was weird to
And who
me.
works there? Like he doesn't need to stay there.
He's probably just tired. I think you got to stay here till, I don't know.
Nobody leaves till Bricker leaves.
Something. Yeah, stay there without him.
Yeah, stay there and make sure he's functional.
He's tripping.
The upshot here is that George and Gloria invite Doc to Puerto Vallarta tomorrow.
Yeah, because he's
Doc's
not working.
I've been there 148 times. But have you ever been to Consuelas? Apparently, if you haven't been to Consuelas, then you've really never been to Puerto Vallarta.
You've never been there. Isn't he working, Mike? I mean, isn't this a cruise? Aren't they talking about can't wait till we have time off? Well, this looks a lot like time off if you get to go to a cute little touristy beach town for day trips.
I'm still very vague on, like, he's on call.
How are they going to get in touch with him?
Like, I did wonder that. Also, he's drinking.
Yeah, he's drinking. They're going to send a pigeon out. Where's the Adam pigeon? Go get him. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's very
like this guy's Doc's going off the boat twice this season. One time they were kidnapped. The second time, right. Eventually someone knows died. So it's like,
yeah, how about you stay on the boat? It's a lot safer for everyone involved.
Everybody stay on the boat. Plus, they really were moving this week because I'm pretty sure it was like a 2-day cruise.
Yeah, it was not a long.
We haven't had a tenor in a while. I think we're down to like weekend cruises.
This has to be it. Yeah, because we only saw 2 tuxedos. I bet you this was Friday, Saturday, back on a Sunday.
Well, because when Schneider starts to make an ass of himself later on, he basically says, we're back in LA tomorrow. So it's,
That is true.
It's quick. Anyway, where are we at? Amber and Gopher are finishing that dance on the deck. Gopher still seems worried about stepping on Doc's toes. But they basically, when Amber says, what about Doc? He says, too early for blood tests. So there you go. It's never too early for a blood test, folks.
Never too early.
This is the other nice piece of directing. So Gopher and Amber walk off screen left, and the camera pans back to the bar where Danny is talking to Isaac.
I like that a lot. I love that continuity. I really did. Because you never see 2 stories cross over like that. It's great.
It felt like those 2 storylines were definitely in the same building. I can't say the third one was in there, but
I agree.
And yeah, that makes all the difference.
That's it. That's all we need.
Guess what Danny's doing at the bar though? Complaining about Anne. So
more of that drinking and complaining.
Julie tries to apologize for the dinner snafu, but he's like, all women are ganging up on me. All you. You're all the worst.
He's had it. Poor guy.
Julie's offended by this. This turns into Isaac says that men get the short end of the stick on divorce. Julie says women get the short end of the stick on marriage. Yeah, we're in a loop. We're in a loop here too.
We're in a loop. There we go. I did think it was. Sorry, I don't want to jump ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to miss Anna's gold.
No, I don't want to miss anything.
Danny asks Isaac if he's ever been married, and he gives one of those Mrs. Cody like, no, sir. So, Anne shows up out of nowhere, and she's got more daggers to throw at poor Danny Holt. Offers to buy him a drink. Offers to dance. Danny's too bitter for any of this nonsense.
Yeah, he wants none of you.
So that's it.
I thought it was funny that when Isaac pointed out that Doc had been to Danny, oh yeah, Doc's been married 4 times. And I'm like, wow, Isaac's a little loose with the information. It's a little TMI. Yeah. And then he said, well, some men collect stamps. I was like, damn, Isaac, that's I thought that was a little much.
Yeah. You're right, though. It is a little PHI right there.
Yeah, I just don't think Isaac would have done that, but it is apparently he did.
Oh, God. Back in the cabin, Hank and Diana are still practicing. Apparently, there's so much more practicing to do that they got to do another day of this. Why? You're trying to
answer
fool
3
the
questions.
dumbest captain. So
So dumb. It's not even like you'd have to answer him.
no.
He's going to be so dumbfounded. He's not going to know the difference.
We have a season and a half of this guy being fooled by some of the simplest things. So,
Just like the roles of a captain.
and the one thing that they did not take any time to plan for was the fact that Julie knows this guy is not Winthrop. So
Yeah. Yeah, that was yeah.
Anyway, because they need to work on this more, she says, get up first thing in the morning. Hank's like, I have a job. I have an actual job here. So we can't do that. She's like, well, we'll just stay here all night. And he's like, oh, absolutely.
Oh, sure you want to. Sure. He's like, well, I got to go back in the morning. I got to wipe another banister. I got to wipe the end of a banister while having a cold ginger ale. Real tough job there, Schneider. Real tough. You're getting paid to take a cruise and to wipe 2 inches of a banister, or sit on a ladder with a can of WD-40 while holding a pipe.
God,
that's it.
It's costing this boat so much money in cheeseburgers and pledge.
And how did Steubing not know who he was? He doesn't know all of his crew. I take the time to learn every guest on the ship, but you don't learn the crew. Captain of the year.
He just got hired.
Still.
Listen, I know what you're saying. That's probably the one. I'll give him a pass on that one.
Yeah, I'll let it go.
Gopher is back at his cabin with Amber. He's still kind of sketchy about Doc.
Big time.
I don't know, getting pissed again. But so when Doc shows up, he just wants a camera for Puerto Vallarta Pictures. And he's saying, thank Gopher. And he says, goodnight, Amber. So with that, I think Gopher finally felt released to have his way with Amber.
Well, at this point, I'm like, okay, we've seen the clear delineation of Amber with Doc before. Now this event is about to happen, and what he said. So to me, in my mind, okay, it's Amber and Gopher now.
Right.
I just want to note that for the record, because when we see something later, it's going to confuse me.
All right, Act 3. The first half of Act 3 is one show, and then the second half of Act 3 happens. So let's bum rush through this first.
Yeah, let's bum rush before we get to the real.
Right, the real program this week. Next morning, Danny and Amber are playing a quick game of backgammon. To your point, this is nice when the storylines kind of mix.
Mm-hmm.
We do get the gratuitous bikini shot as well.
Yeah, like Heine right in your face.
Yeah, so it's 1978. I guess that was inevitable. Amber's not very smart. She asks if it's her serve. When she gets a 5 and a 4, she adds them up.
Yeah, they really painted her.
Yeah. Gopher's on break, so when he's on break, Amber's on break, so they split. And that leaves an empty chair at the backgammon table.
Oh, who could come up and sit by Danny Holt?
Right. It's attorney and stalker and Sterling.
Stalker, indeed.
They go back and forth, much like the Pizza Boys last week, with the prices of how much these games are going to cost. It goes 1, 2, up to 5.
Whoa.
So this is high cotton.
That's no $7 pizza bet.
While it's no pizza bet, it is definitely going to take a while to reach those Wendell Sneed level prices. So
I'm going to be here all day. Get comfy. You need a longer cruise.
So when let's see, when the Steubing and Julie run into Miss DiMaggio, and Merle once again is desperate to find Winthrop. Florence Henderson's like, don't worry.
Yeah, chill out, bro. We'll figure it out.
We'll be there at dinner. Don't you fret.
What'd he say? I want a cup in my hand, not egg on my face.
Okay, bub. Just shut up. Shut up.
Such an asshole.
We get an announcement from Steubing over the intercom. hopes that everyone enjoyed their stay in Puerto Vallarta and that we'll be getting to Casa San Luca at 8 a.m. tomorrow. So is the boat hauling out when you make that announcement? I don't know.
I assume so, but now I'm not sure if I should assume so.
And the reason you shouldn't assume so is because, well, we'll get to that in a second, I guess. Oh, hold on. Are we there now?
I think we're there now.
All right. So Stubing makes the announcement, and then Doc and the Hancocks are getting wasted.
What was those red drinks? What were those little... Oh.
And that is like not on the boat, right? Consuelos is not on the boat. So
well,
if that is...
actually, no. I do have I think they were in the pirate bar doing that.
But didn't they toast to Consuelos?
I think they were toasting to that place after they got back on the ship.
Okay. That would make more sense.
I think that's how I read it. Because it's right before they give Doc that gift.
Right. Doc gets the gift. This is where they're at a bar, whether it's in Puerto Vallarta or the pirate bar, one or the other. Doc is gifted a ring, which has the symbol of healing.
Symbol of healing. What a weird cutscene, and the sound was different.
Yeah.
Symbol of healing. Number, what kind of... They barely even know this guy.
Brought to you by...
Do they know? Are they just trying to replace their own PCP that they just lost tragically? That's about Adam's height and has the same ring size. Like, what? It's so weird.
Yeah.
Like they sought out to make a family member out of... It's culty, man. It's just culty.
Well, and it's like they seem to collect a quote unquote family member every trip, right?
That's what I was reading. Weird. Depending on where they go, it's just like, just go home. Stop it with just go home and knock it off.
Doc is touched. It might be the Tecate.
He's never wearing that stupid ring. Where's he gonna? And then it looked like it was on his ring finger, like his wedding ring finger. I'm like, there's no way in hell Doc is putting a ring on that finger again. So
bad luck for those who's trying to heal if he's putting it on the ring finger.
You better get it off of there. You're just gonna have to take it back if you have take it off if you have to do surgery. But I'm sure that's not gonna happen anytime soon on this ship.
It's nighttime. It's showtime for Hank. As Danny gives him a little pop quiz in front of the big ceremony. We do it in front of a mirror, as so many important conversations are had there. But when they kind of wrap it up, and Hank, I don't know, maybe jump the gun a little bit. It's just like,
a little.
Hey, we're done this weird arrangement that I pretend to be a rich guy. Why don't we also go get married?
Let's go get married. Let's go get married. I don't even know your first name.
Florence Henderson has the proper reaction to this. This is exactly how you should react. She's like, Well,
aside from that, what the hell was she wearing? What the hell? Like, she had a thing and it's just bare here. And I'm like, Mrs. Brady, like, put some clothes on, lady. I know you've been doing some weird working out and you have abs and all. It was very odd. That whole thing was odd.
Yeah.
It's just not plausible.
No.
Oh, we can get married. Like, wait a minute, this dude just wanted to hook up with her. And now all of a sudden.
Well, Mike, it's not about money, it's about love.
So. Yeah, that's true. He doesn't care about money. You're right. Yeesh.
Love and banisters.
Love and banisters and WD-40. And tall glasses of ginger ale.
So Florence Henderson's like, yeah, when two people love each other, they should get married. But Schneider eventually catches on, and he's like,
oh,
I am the fool.
I get it, Mrs. H. He's out of there. Oh, he's, rightfully so. She, not that she let him on. That
she let him on.
She wanted to get married.
He allowed himself to be let on, but she definitely led him on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she asked him to spend the night, and all of a sudden he's taking it like that. Though he's dumb as a rock. That's why they had this is a charity job they gave him. This guy could only handle polishing part of the banister. He's dumb. He like Box O Rock's dumb. You gonna fall for that? Like you are too old, Schneider or Pat Harrington Jr. to fall for this nonsense. Come, where's your pride? Like, where's your
awareness?
I love
when the jig is up and he's on his way out the door and he's like, "Go ahead, get yourself another boy, get yourself another sucker."
Oh, he's gonna be listening to the Celtics game somewhere on deck. Get away.
Dave Cowens is the best.
Poor guy. He doesn't need
Dinner
this.
time. Bert Convy is trying to make a beeline to Ann's table. What?
Who saw that coming? What is this?
Gopher tries to stop him from himself, after Julie was like, don't let them sit together. But Danny's like, I got it. I'm going to go sit over here with this lady. So, shockingly, there's some more give and take with those two.
There we go. More of the same.
Bert Convy tries to give her a compliment about her dress, and she's like, yeah, you paid for it with your divorce.
She's such
he at least goes
in the Roberts, not Roberts, but oh wow, that sounds terrible. Like the Smiths got my earrings, the Turners got my bracelet. I was like,
I mean, who got the necklace? The Fosters got the necklace.
Like Gary Bananas?
Oh, he wasn't married. He hates people with misses. I'm assuming it's Myrna and Ray Foster from episode 23. Ray Foster, of course, the guy who was chasing down his old hooker.
Oh, wow. So, good catch on that. Yep. Wow.
I caught that immediately. So episode 23, Chalice Full of Oranges. You should go back and put it all together. This is an intricately plotted series of television. We are having another captain's dinner, as we said. The attendance is sparse. The table is garbage.
That is the worst. Like, you wouldn't even play cards at that table. That is such a piece of garbage. It really is shocking.
It looks like the award ceremony at your clubhouse for your Little League team.
Oh.
Come on, Stewie.
The VFW have much better tables than this nonsense. It's really, really sad.
The Hancocks stop by to let the captain know that they're going to be a little late because they're going to go have a nice moonlight stroll, maybe a couple of laps. No danger there. We'll see you guys later for dinner.
Anything happening there? Especially if they run all the time. They should be able to walk.
Well, they're healthy. They're healthy people. Julie asks Steubing if he prepared any remarks, and of course he pulls out like 50 pages of loose leaf paper.
Hey, why is Doc at the table with Amber?
So I knew you were going there. Do you think it's that thing where they booked it originally?
Oh, I can get you to sit at the captain's table. Is that how he's baiting the hook on that?
Right.
Well, can I still go to the table?
Where it's like they are really desperate for people to sit at the captain's table.
No
I didn't see that guy who toasted from the other dinner.
He's out. We never saw him again. Get out of here.
Too much. Too much, guy.
What a overall.
I did think that was wrong.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing? There's other people.
I guess the only thing I can think is if Doc or if Gopher's working.
But again, just like you said at the beginning of this episode, she deserved a portal.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to be, my guess is the only person that gets screwed like this more will be a child actor in terms of quantity of story.
I get that.
Right?
I get that. Kind of like the Joanna Kearns treatment last season.
Yeah.
Pre-portal. But yeah.
Florence Henderson shows up. And she asks Steubing if they can talk. And he's like, yeah, after the ceremony. Like, what? Dude, she's in charge of the ceremony. Like,
he's like, after me, after me. What a douche.
I don't know what her plan was, because when he is willing to talk, she just hymns and haws and haws.
Well, that's why. Maybe he's like, I don't have time. I'm a sea captain, damn it. Like,
of the
spit
year.
It out. Of the year. Thank you.
But luckily for Florence Henderson, Gopher is up at the mic, and he's introducing Sterling Winthrop to present the Winthrop Cup to Captain Merrill Stubing for being the captain of the year.
What is he expecting? Like, what grand presentation is he, like, pyro? You know, like, what is he expecting to happen other than here's the cup?
Like when I got like an award in 8th grade for something at graduation, right? They or high school even, they say 3 sentences about you.
Yeah.
That's about as much as you're going to get. The award is the award, right?
Right.
So,
like, it speaks for itself.
Right. If anything, this Winthrop, good for Winthrop going to Copenhagen. Like this would have been a waste of his time.
Well, think about it, right? So Stubing's in a dining room for people that are on a cruise to get away from their hectic lives or a break from the norm. And these people are going to be sitting in here having a nice dinner, all dressed up, and they're going to have to hear, number one, this extended presentation by some rich pompous dude, and then after that, then you got to listen to Stubing's. Like, no one cares about the audience at all. Meaning, like, Stubing is ready to give this speech to people that they're going to be like, "Shut up, shut
Who
up!
are you?
Nobody,
I don't
who are
care."
you talking to? Like, we don't even know you."
Right. Which is why this should have been held at a corporate office retreat.
Just mail him that stupid trophy. That's what I would do.
How did the trophy get down to Gopher?
It's a good question. My assumption was like she brought it down
just to give it to him. Was she just going to like, here's your trophy?
You're right, because she was about to fess up that he's not there. Well, why didn't she just bring the trophy to the table?
He's still right. And Schneider didn't have it when he left.
No.
Did he break in?
Some holes here. Some holes.
Anyway, Stubing's so dumb.
He's just an idiot.
So he's buying all the Hank shtick. Oh. Like there's no way this wasn't going to work. There's only one thing that could have kept them from
one.
Work.
Ship to shore.
Ship to shore. Here's Isaac. He's got a phone call, and guess who's on the other line? Mr. Winthrop. This is exactly what happened with the Stockdales.
Why couldn't they just say, "No, I'm Winthrop Jr. That's my father," or it's a different Winthrop?
They didn't practice.
They didn't pray. Schneider didn't. He's not a smart man. They didn't tell him to say that.
Star.
Yeah.
The bigger problem, as we said, and there is a 3-second glance, is Julie knows that this isn't Winthrop because she hired him probably.
Mm-hmm.
She looks at Florence Henderson. Florence Henderson basically gives her a shut up.
Yeah, shut your mouth. Don't say anything.
And that was their plan for handling that. Anyway, this starts to break down pretty quickly. Stubing, now he needs Julie.
Yeah, of course.
He asks her to come over and explain it. Julie explains that Hank actually is just a member of the crew. Hey, Skip, how you doing?
Hey, Skipper.
Well, it turns out he's not a member of the crew anymore. You're fired.
Not anymore.
So,
God.
Is that the third crew member he's fired?
Well, remember, he fired Gopher.
And he fired the lady who was going after Julie's job.
Fired the one going after Julie's job. You're right.
He threatened Bob Crane a bunch of times, but he didn't fire him.
He didn't fire. Yeah, Teddy did not get canned.
He couldn't fire Chef Borgia.
Well, let me ask, what about his nephew? Was that a firing, or is that just
No, he didn't even work there. He was just training.
He had his uniform on, remember? He kept doing the wrong thing. I'm just wondering if
that wasn't a real thing. And no, they made up at the end.
That's true. Captain Anderson.
No. Oh, Captain Cunningham.
Captain Cunningham.
Yes. Well, he quit, didn't he? Didn't he tender his resignation?
Yeah, he did. Captain Cunningham, good call.
Anyway, he's fired. That's it. Well, that was a pretty lighthearted episode. And now...
That's it.
Drama.
Now the real episode begins.
This is... At this point, I'm like, thing. This is a pretty pedestrian episode, but okay, fine. And then all of a sudden, they drop in just a completely different show.
Dude, hell breaks loose on the boat.
crazy.
So, it's just nuts. All right, let's get down. This is the real episode right here.
I even need my notes.
No notes are needed for this. This is
George
insane.
walks in to dinner and it's like, Doc, I need you. Gloria has fallen down the stairs.
Yeah.
And then piano just the
emphasis. Let's go.
The first of like 10 amazing Bernie Capel deliveries. He's like, oh no. He doesn't even know what happened.
He doesn't even know what happened.
Angle. Like,
remember, you did already knock her over, so she's already like, is it worse than that? Like, don't. Okay.
Doc runs out with everybody, his whole staff. Gloria's out cold. Steubing says they're about 7 hours out of port. That's too much time.
That's too. Apparently, nope. We know now, just by doing no assessment of the injury that has occurred, we now know that 7 hours is not enough. Enough for what? I don't know. Damn it, they're my family, Julie. That's basically what's happening now. It is so murky what her actual injury is.
Doc starts barking out orders. Isaac, go get the gurney. Gopher, set up a ship-to-shore call with Wilshire Memorial for Dr. David Barnes. Find my nurse. Find my nameless nurse who is confined to my surgery room.
So, she never sees the light of day.
Julie and Amber, please take George back to my cabin. Okay.
He's barking. You know what, though? Look at him. Just for a second. Look at him step it up to the challenge.
Yeah. Well, listen. At the end of the day, he's a good doctor, right? Because he delivered that baby, too. It's like, so I think he can get away with all this nonsense.
Imagine, I bet you if Steubing was there, he'd tell him to go do something, too.
I mean...
Hey, Meryl. You know?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The diagnosis is that Gloria has fallen and broken a rib. And Doc's worried that it's going to potentially puncture a lung. So let's cut her up.
That's essentially it. Yes, she might have internal bleeding, so let's open her up.
Yep. What we got? They needed Artie D'Angelo here to kind of check under the hood, see what was happening.
No kidding. There's a plumber poet. We could have used everybody in here.
Where's Tony? Where's Tony? Get Tony back. Hey, Abangu.
It's so funny to me because it was like all of a sudden, right? The entire show shifted very quickly
to a show that this has never been.
This has never been this show.
Never been this show.
But again, I go back to the injury. I'm so baffled. And at this point, this is the very first episode of The Love Boat that's ever happened where Mrs. Taylor took an interest. At this point of the episode,
oh no,
she starts paying attention. She said, "What is going on?" And I go, "She fell down the stairs and he's got to do emergency surgery." And she's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because there's probably internal bleeding and we only have 7 hours." She was like, "So they're just going to cut her open now?" And I go, "Yup." Yes, they are.
They couldn't have given her like a little gash on her head or a little blood trickling out or whatever.
Yeah, you just a little bit of blood or blood coming out of the ear, you know, or just something.
On the steps.
Stop it. No blood anywhere. No ripped clothing. No, like, you don't see a bruise. You don't see a paper cut. But all right.
George is worried. George is not taking this great. Doc tries to assure him that she'll be fine. Everything will be fine.
I promise.
And then Julie has decided now is the time to speak up. She's like, "Doc, you can't make those kind of promises."
I've been like, shut your hole, Julie. I'm a doctor, damn it. You know, I'm saving lives. Get out of here.
Basically. And my family. And then Isaac,
that's right,
not super fast with the gurney.
Where's the Isaac and the damn gurney? He's just like,
commercial.
Meryl, get me my scotch. You get me my beer.
Amazing.
It's where's this guy every week?
It's those two, oh God, and where's Isaac with the gurney are the second and third best line deliveries. The third is coming up in Act 4.
I want to see a series called Doc Boat. I want this to happen every week.
Oh no, this
Somebody needs.
is called Bricker.
Ooh.
Bricker.
Ooh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that. Performing unnecessary surgeries 33 weeks of the year.
Sign a consent form or else.
Did you get the consent form? There's no time. Oh.
I don't want to bother her husband.
Bother her husband.
Anyway.
We need emergency surgery. Where's the consent form? Damn you and your admin brain. Just so funny. All right.
We open up Act 4 with a ship-to-shore call. Pacific Princess calling Wilshire Memorial. Again, they say it. So
it's exciting.
Who's making this call? That's right.
I know who's making the call.
It's the radio officer. He's back. Since saving him and Isaac basically saved this entire boat in the season premiere, he does not stand up. So I was not sure if it was him because, as you know, he's very tall.
One of my favorite actors, Chris Capon.
Yes. And Chris Capon, this is his last episode. He will not be back with us. So I guess Doc was like, nope, you can't get me a direct line. You're out.
Well, they ripped all the radios out of the Pacific Princess in 1979, so they didn't really need them.
But he is now officially the first candidate for the Iron Man Award as someone who appears on multiple episodes. So
yep. Good for you.
Good luck to you.
Good luck, radio officer.
Yes. They do get a hold of Dr. Barnes, who asks Doc if he's looking for his little black book.
It's always... What the hell are you calling me for? There's no time now.
I am. But
yes, but no, not now.
That is our first little black book reference.
Yeah.
Which is hysterical because, that was just
such a go-to.
Cheers built entire episodes around Sam Malone's black book.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're going to hear a lot more about little black books. You kids don't know.
You don't know. That's before...
I used to have slips of paper in a box in my dresser. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's when people wrote notes and folded them and gave you notes.
All right. They get a hold of Barnes once he's done offering up ladies to Doc. They get to business. Basically, Doc wants assistance on Gloria's surgery. He kind of wants him to sketch it out and walk me through every step. But before we do that, damn it, have you gotten that consent form? Asked Dr. Barnes.
It's so funny. Wait, Adam. We don't have time.
So Wilshire Memorial must have gotten busted for just doing random surgeries.
I'm surprised. I'm sure they had a HIPAA. This is pre-HIPAA. We protect your information here at Wilshire. As a commercial for this because that was weird. Well,
you know what? We'll get to the boat safety procedures. We'll get to that in a little bit because I do have a question about that. But Barnes, the one piece of information that he does get, that spleen's got to come out now.
That's
basically. It sounds like you got about 2 hours, and that baby's going to just explode.
Sure. You can live without a spleen.
Yeah, but can you live with an exploding spleen?
No, but there's only 3 reasons why you would remove a spleen. The first reason is cancer, right? Second is a blood disorder, but the third one is severe trauma.
Falling down
falling down a flight of steps? Is that?
Well, you don't know what kind of speed she was going at. Plus, they've been drinking all day.
Maybe she was trying to end it.
Maybe George was trying to end it.
Pushed her like showgirls. He wanted to be her understudy. Just saying.
All right. So let's talk about these boat protocols for an emergency.
Ooh, loose at best. Yeah.
So Doc doesn't know how to do every surgery. I guess that makes sense, right? But
yeah, just because you're a doctor doesn't mean you can treat everything or do surgery for everything.
Right.
Right. There is some
specificity. Be a book or relying on ship to shore calls, as we see when they're 8 to 10 hours out. It seems a little dicey.
What's he gonna do? Get in there looking for the spleen and just be like, well, let me reach around and like see if I. It just doesn't. Nothing. And the guy on
And
speakerphone.
right. And thank God David Barnes wasn't out running through his little black book.
No kidding. They're playing the golf. But this was at night too, so that was
yeah.
like, what are the chances this surgeon's going to be at
based
work?
on his outfit? He just got out of surgery.
Night surgeon.
Night surgeon.
Dr. Barnes, night surgeon. That's the new spin-off coming from this.
After Bricker.
That's right. After Bricker, Dr. Barnes, night surgeon.
So the other thing is with the consent forms is we've seen so many people come on this boat by themselves. So shouldn't your ticket like have a form that you check a box basically, and it's like, I hereby consent to, in the case of an emergency, at the discretion of the doctor, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd have to do that before you get on the ship.
Right, like pick literally any single person. Artie last week, right? Artie D'Angelo.
Right.
He gets hit in the head and bleeding out. Like, who's signing that consent form? Isaac, because he worked on his car? Like,
no, but that was last week.
Oh, gotcha.
That was last week. They didn't even need consent forms till whatever date this was. But yeah, it is weird. Just the protocols on the ship, very loose, very loose.
I wondered where they were going to cut back to, because they couldn't go back to like Schneider in this heavy drama. So
no, what do you do there? You can't. Well, because if you lighten it too much, it sort of takes some of that steam away. But yeah.
So instead, they were like, you know what? Let's just give America a break from this heart-racing drama and give them some world-class acting. And
Absolutely.
So we got Bert Convy out on the deck. He's telling Anne that he's like, you know what? I really appreciate it. I used to be so mad, and you really let the air out of that balloon. You punctured, which is a bad choice, Danny, man. We got a lady who's punctured over in the room.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
But he's basically like kind of saying, thanks a lot, Anne. You really, helped me get through all this, and I'm feeling like a better person for it, and I plan to stick like that. And Anne's like, man, you really sound like you're still a fan of marriage despite everything. And then Bert Convy clears his throat, cracks his fingers. It's mankind's finest gift to mankind.
Oh, God. I have that. I added that note in my
love, phone. Getting married, having children, those children growing up, seeing love, learning about love, then going out in the world, spreading that love like ripples in water. The circle just keeps getting larger.
No. Ooh.
Thank you, Bert Convy.
I get strong Red Hot American Woman vibes from that whole like mini soliloquy he did. Good Lord.
He's just like, give me 4 pages. I will knock this out of the park.
I got it. Oh.
Anyway, after all that, the password is smooches.
Nice. Their storyline wasn't that hamster wheel, but it was all right. Again, Bert Convy.
This is what happens when you have actors you enjoy.
Because you care.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
put that in the hands of like so many couples we've seen, and we would have hated that.
Absolutely.
So
yeah. Well, absolutely.
All right. In Doc's waiting room, George looks awful. George looks like he's been through it. Amber's there for some reason.
Yeah, we don't know Amber's there.
No idea why. Julie's there. Isaac shows up with coffee. George starts rambling on about Gloria used to like peppermint tea. So thanks for nothing, Isaac, I guess.
He's already remembering her like she's about to be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'd have been like, look, George. Oh,
Julie's like, don't give up, you. Don't ever give up. And George doesn't even give her an eye contact. He's just
George's like, shut up.
Who is this girl talking to
Who's
me?
This dame? What are you doing?
Then we get a action shot in the surgery room. Doc and his nurse, his poor nameless nurse who never gets to leave the room, are in there in action. Looks like Doc's taking a cobbler out of the oven to cool. He's just kind of moving around, moving stuff around.
Completely clean, by the way, much like the dog delivering baby. He is completely squeaky clean from head to toe after emergency surgery.
Diana goes to Hank's cabin to apologize. I thought this was funny. Schneider's like, "You got a bad break with that phone call." That was pretty good.
I like that one too.
She quit her job, and somehow also is now in love with Hank.
I don't know what happened there.
I have no idea.
They said, "Screw it, let's just throw them together." Basically,
yeah, that's like one of those ones you always say, "We got to rush and just get some people together here at the end."
Throw it together, yeah. Everyone gets married. Brr.
I don't know. Whatever. There's no time for this. Back to the drama.
Yeah, back to the drama. Come on,
really. And the drama of telecommunications in 1978.
Here we go.
Dr. Barnes is trying to go through the list of surgery instructions, but the communication keeps cutting out.
He's like, these damn sunspots. Just awful.
And then
Adam,
the
can you hear me?
Guy, like, it's been like this all week. Like, come on, Steubing, get your boat together, man.
Or how about have a better radio officer? Maybe that's why we don't see him again.
Oh, I see. I was blaming. I assumed it went up the chain of command.
No,
wait, but you're telling me this guy who reported on the hurricane and saved the whole boat wouldn't report on some broken radio equipment? Or do you think he's pissed because he didn't get a promotion when Isaac did?
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. I just don't think he's happy. I just don't think he's happy after that.
He's gonna be on this. He's gonna be on the Sun Princess.
Well, how about him? He tried multiple times to tell Cunningham what was up.
Yeah.
So maybe he feels unrecognized. Thus, he never returns to the ship after this.
So they're cutting out. They try to reconnect. They do reconnect for a short time. Cuts out again. We just get a lot of Dr. Barnes being like, "Adam, I can't hear. Oh, wait, now I can hear you. Hold on. Oh, Adam."
Because that's what you want for surgery is you want to lose things in translation. First, cut the
exactly.
But do it hard.
So at one point, Doc like clearly missed an instruction, which is really throwing him off. And then we get it. What the hell's going on?
He is delivering lines like Larry Storch right now. He is giving it his all.
God. So good. Doc tells Gopher to try St. Paul's in Minnesota, I guess. You're not going to reach Minnesota.
No, if you can't reach LA.
Then he wonders what's to do. He's constantly saying, what check what? And that's got to be like, I really hope that Gloria is unconscious because that would give me pause if I heard the doctor. Just kind of.
I would be a little worried about. Okay.
Anne shows up at Danny's cabin. Danny was like, "Oh, I'm waiting for somebody." And she comes in and has this really clumsy compliment where she says that his ex-wife is not half the woman that he is a man.
Yeah, that was really forcing that one in there.
Yeah.
You don't have to say something, Ann Sterling. You don't have to jam that circle into that square peg like that. That was a little for a lawyer, that was rough.
Anyway, she's like, "I'm out of here, and I hope that your date goes, or I hope that the lady you're waiting for shows up, or something like that." And Bert Convey's like, "She's already here.
But Bert Convey's so damn likable.
Yep. Smooches.
Good for them.
Meanwhile,
let's get back
at the hospital drama. Gopher says they'll keep on trying, but Doc's just like, it doesn't matter now.
I've already cut into her and like, what do you mean it doesn't matter now? You don't need to know how to do the surgery anymore.
I get it, right?
Sure.
But you can't do that. That's kind of like it should have been Gopher couldn't get a hold of him. That's what it should have been. Or something like that.
Didn't
for Doc to say it doesn't matter now, and then to not say anything else, like all good. Don't worry. So,
didn't they do an X-ray on this ship before?
No, I think Bill Bixby would have been the only person they.
That's what I was thinking. Because again,
Doc just kind of groped his knee.
It's not hard to find holes in this, but again, it's like you'd probably need some sort of verifiable proof that A, somebody's bleeding internally, or B, that they have a fractured rib. Like if you know what I mean? A fractured rib's not going to knock you unconscious.
Well, it's not just that, but usually one of the signs of a fractured rib is that the person's like, it hurts when I breathe.
It hurts when she's like,
yeah.
she's just out. Unless it was so late, it was like after 6 o'clock that she just fell asleep.
All right. Well, I didn't really think they were going to kill anybody off. I got my hopes up last year.
It's funny you say that because, again, Mrs. Taylor's still watching this episode, like sucked in.
Why did she not come on for this one? Who knew?
She was all fired up. And it goes to that scene where Doc, goes in the waiting room. We don't know what's happened.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, my God, is she dead? Like, what are you waiting for? He's doing a pregnant pause to tell him. She's like, what? Why would you pause there? Oh.
Well, good news for your wife and George. She's not dead. Turns out Doc was just like, she's fine.
Yeah, we're good. Did you stitch her up, Doc? I didn't even cut into her. I didn't do anything because there's nothing wrong with her because she just fell down.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Doc makes sure he gets that consent form so Dr. Barnes gets off his ass.
No kidding. By the way, George, if I could just get you to any of your insurance.
George accidentally just signed over his power of attorney.
He's going to ask for a copay. He's going to be like, well, I'm going to need $20 from you, George. Copay.
Gopher shows up. He's like, what the hell? He's like, so they got Dr. Barnes back on the horn. And Bricker's like, listen, just tell him to get me a room, an ambulance, and some flowers for this lady. So
that's great, Doc. That's great.
A nice little touch. Again, I always like these little touches. At the end, they're going to commercial, and Gopher's just like, oh, thank goodness. And he's just kind of standing there. And Isaac gives him like a little smack on the arm. That felt very like a real person thing.
Yeah, I agree. I like their buddy.
Good job. Like everybody did good work here, on stuff. What a powerful scene. Act 5. This is where we get the Stubing action shot in the stock footage. Walkie-talkie's back.
Walkie-talkie is back.
Is that new or is that the one from last year? I know there was a walkie-talkie
new.
one.
That's new. The old walkie-talkie one, it was more of him from the side, like on the side of the boat doing this and like looking around. But this was completely
this is artsy.
Like it looked like he was trying to park the boat, but I know he's not parking the boat. So.
Well, this is exciting because if they're shooting new ones, that means we might get another one with the wires. So
we'll see what happens. It's funny.
Amber comes down to say goodbye to Gopher and confirm that they're still on. They're going to go to Sacramento. Gopher's ditching Burbank.
Wow.
Problem is, Amber's like, yeah, my parents are going to be thrilled to meet you. And Gopher's like, ooh. This is why Doc shot her out. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want to meet anybody. Get out of
here. Gopher makes up a story about how the Princess Line does not let people that work there get married. And Julie has a pretty nice
maybe. She just got back from pizza with Wally and Alex, so don't even get her started.
This is probably the same way they told Amber she didn't make the portals.
That's funny. No, you'll be in there.
All right. So Gloria comes down the elevator. She's on the gurney with her husband and her operating doctor and the bartender carrying an IV bag.
That was a lot of people in that elevator.
It's definitely the most people we've seen in that elevator.
I don't think that would have fit. When you have a gurney, you have a gurney size. There's no way that's the same elevator. Because those hospitals have
seen more
wide
than like 3
elevators.
people in the elevator.
No, they're doing it like a clown car. Oh, look at us! We get 6 gurneys in one elevator.
You can't give me just a nameless female to be the nurse to carry the. Isaac could have still gotten his gin joke off.
Yeah, that joke wasn't reliant on him holding it at all. He could have been.
Come on. Like
He's
this
not
poor
holding that
nameless
damn
nurse.
thing.
This is now twice this nurse. I don't know if it's the same nurse because they didn't give her any name or anything. But she doesn't get to leave the room. Or
No.
where's the Wilshire Memorial paramedics? Why aren't they coming in?
Yeah, if she's they're sending a very mixed message as far as the severity of her injury.
Yeah. Anyway, George is like, see you in Baltimore, kid. There's no chance Doc goes to see them in Baltimore, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Doc hasn't been past the Mason-Dixon line in 4 years. So.
Doc does not go back to Johns Hopkins for the many bridges he has burned there. There's no way. He tore that city to the ground back in.
Maybe he'll go there on a very special episode of Bricker, like season 4.
I like that. The Return. The episode's called The Return.
The Baltimore Harbor is lousy with bureaucrats.
There's a woman who got attacked by a bird in the aquarium in the aviary. He just goes in there eating a crab cake. It's a very Baltimore episode.
Cal Ripken is injured.
Eddie with a guest appearance by Eddie Murray. That would be nice.
The Colts are moving. What?
The Mayflower trucks are packed.
Oh no. Next,
it's funny.
A very special Bricker.
Funny you say that. I lived in Baltimore when that happened. It was before I was really a football fan, and I used to watch Baltimore Colts games. And I remember being woken up going, look at this. And it was on all over the morning news, like the middle of dead of night. It was wild.
So
they just
crazy. If
left.
that happened today, the world would explode. Danny and Ann come down the steps. Bert Convy tries one more big swing at a monologue. This one's basically like, if this romance becomes an engagement, blah, 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 the upshot is that he wants her to represent him if they end up getting married and divorced.
They're going to get married in the next hour because that's what happens. Everyone gets marriage crazy on this boat.
Steubing and Julie are talking to Hank and Diana. Speaking of married, but we'll get to that. First of all, Steubing has been filled in, and now he's like, "Don't worry about it. I put you in a tough school. You were in a tough spot. You know why you were in a tough spot?
Created the spot.
Exactly. That's 100% Merrill Steubing created.
Zero awareness, dude. Zero awareness.
Somehow, Florence Henderson's like, that's why you're the captain of the year.
Yeah, I was like, where? How did you make that? How do those dots connect?
This is not as bad as a couple weeks ago when Tony and his entire family thanked Steubing for making him work on Thanksgiving. But true. There seems to be in these Act 5s at least 3 or 4 times these kiss the ring Steubing moments that are just unearned.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
Anyway, Steubing then gets to Hank, and he's like, "You were being gallant." Offers him his job back. Luckily, he has the self-awareness to realize he might not want the job back.
Of course,
he does not. Hank tells him to shove it. The sea is no place for a married man.
That's right.
And that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
We get another weird Julie and Steubing kind of smile, look at each other, freeze frame, and that's it for episode 36. So, totals and a recap.
Wow. An intense 10 minutes of action on this episode.
That was I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted from all the action, from the hot medical action.
# medical drama.
So I think when we started recording here, I probably had a more favorable opinion of this episode than I feel like you did. So I do think I probably got tired of the Hank Diana.
Yeah, there's a lot of the same note
on the second watching.
Yeah,
the other 2 storylines I'm okay with. I appreciate the effort, the acting, and everything. If you told me this was the second best episode of the season, I could live with it. But that's not high. That's not really high cotton either. So
I don't think I could live with that.
No, that's fine, and I understand.
I think it would be the equivalent of kicking my legs out from under me. No, we have to have better than this.
Yeah,
we have to.
But you don't think it's the worst, do you?
No, not the worst. Not the worst, because there were some highs. There were some standouts.
Yeah.
But overall, and maybe I'm looking at the episode from the lens that, like, Steubing stinks. And this just sort of...
That's the storyline, I
it.
think, that kind of carries the determination, right? And like I said, I didn't hate it as much the first time, but the second time, it did become very redundant.
Yeah.
So it just turns into another 2 good storylines and some good acting, but neither of those other storylines were great, kind of like the Casanova and Captain Dave or any other one storylines that were great, you know. So the floor was high, but the ceiling was low.
So what is this a better episode than the Casanova episode?
No, and that's our current leader.
Is that the current leader for the second? Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Current leader is
this is nowhere close.
Current leader is that. I would say second place is probably that James Coco.
Yeah.
And Melissa Gilbert.
Oof, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
And then there's a bunch we talked about last week. There's a bunch of those one storyline episodes. Worst, we're still with episode 8 because everything was boring, and then we obviously have red buttons in episode 4. So, yeah, I mean, we're now 11 down. We have 14 episodes left this season, and yeah,
this can't be the second best. Like, I'm just with 14 left. Good God!
No, like I said, I probably am withdrawing. If I sat and sketched out the 11,
right,
it probably is in the top half though. Which again is just,
I would, yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
It's a bad season.
It is a bad season.
It is a bad season so far.
Now let me ask you: Is season 2 better, worse, the same as season 1 at this point?
At this point, 11 episodes in?
Yeah.
Oh, I think looking back now, the 11 episodes of season 1 were much better than the 11 episodes of season 2. We didn't know. We didn't know what we didn't know.
We didn't know how good we had it.
No, we didn't. Because even like the bad one, we never had a boring one. We had some crazy ones. The Christmas episode, the Scarecrow episode, you know.
But it was funny too. Like, it was funny.
It was just a higher level plus the good ones. No.
Well, I'm just hoping I hope they backfilled all the quality.
The one thing I will say though, the one thing I will say is I think the top level acting performances are better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I think there's more top performances than there were.
There's some standouts.
Yeah. But I don't think the cruise is good.
No.
So it's weird, and I don't know why. I'm hoping that maybe some of it has to do with this weird continuity thing, that once they kind of get lined up a little bit, it'll have a better flow, but I don't think we're near that yet. So
I just wonder if the approach has changed, meaning it was more crew driven, I would say, in the first season. Not completely crew driven, but more.
Right.
I wonder if there was a decision made, like, you know, somebody goes, look, we got to push the guest stars. It's got to be guest star driven.
Yeah.
You know, and where the crew is just the glue that maintains a continuity within an episode.
Or is it the thing where it's like, okay, listen, if we don't have a lot of great guest stars, we always can go to a crew storyline. But
absolutely.
And I will say this was a big cast in terms of like TV stars and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But we've had some, and it was a small cast. You know, I think the big stars were front loaded. I'll be curious to see who comes around here in the second half.
Jamie Lee Curtis, you look at all those.
Well, they didn't know that, but
they didn't know that. But yeah, no, I agree. I'm curious to see at the back end. Although, like I said, you know, Connie Stevens next week. You know, you have some stars coming. So maybe that is. It's just it's raised the ceiling.
And listen,
maybe season 1 raised the ceiling for season 2.
I don't need the stars to have a good episode.
No, not at all.
So we'll see.
And having said all this, like, I still enjoy the show, right? I just sometimes I get disappointed because I feel like if they just did this or if they just did this, it would be such a...
Yeah, I don't. For our purpose, it's obviously different for our purposes.
Yeah.
I this is why the boring ones bother me so much, because it's like, oh, I have to watch this thing at least twice. It's boring the first watch, like that kind of thing. I would actually like a higher variance in terms of quality. When I turn it on, I would like the possibility that it's going to be one of the best episodes we've seen. Not the best episode of television, just one of the best episodes we've seen. I'm also okay if I turn it on and it's one of the worst episodes we've seen, or just a middle. But I just don't want to see this constant like 6.5.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. We're sort of treading water.
Yeah. Like I said, I can deal with the one really great storyline every week. And there's enough stuff going on, but I'm just disappointed that it seems to have regressed.
Yeah. Having said that, though, this was an episode unlike any other, as far as, with the medical drama at the end, and I wish it made it better as a result overall.
It made it different, right?
It made it different, sure. Yeah.
I appreciate the effort.
Me too.
We always appreciate the swings.
Mm-hmm.
Captain of the week.
It's Bert Convy.
That's what I had. Yeah,
it's got to be Bert Convy.
Yeah,
he was great. He was great.
He was great. And again, it's that thing. We talk about it with the kind of effortless acting. It seemed like, or whatever, and
just has it. He just has it.
And I don't know who I would want to. I wouldn't want to see, but like I just am curious. Like if you gave that role to, just trying to think of like a random guy, and have the chops, right? But it would just be not as good. So,
like, even if it was, who was the guy last week with the little people as the parents?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
Eddie was
Albert or whatever
it was.
Yeah,
it was him.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have been the same.
No.
Yeah.
Walk the plank. Worst of the week.
I think we all know.
We have the exact same answers this week. That's very interesting. So,
well, I mean, it was situation dictates.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually kind of hard. I don't know who I would have had as the second worst.
I don't know. Maybe Schneider. I don't know.
No, you kidding me? Hey, Skip. Hey, Skip. I don't do this for money. I do it for love.
Maybe Gloria Hancock for being so clumsy. She just fell down twice in one episode.
Having soft ribs.
Soft ribs and a bad spleen.
Anyway, that's totals and a recap for this week.
Well, it's time to check the old mailbag real quick. Let's see if we have any.
Isaac, carry up with that mailbag.
Hurry up with that mailbag. No mail. All right. Plugs, Mike.
Mail this week.
Yeah, there'll be mail coming up next week. Absolutely. Anything to plug, sir?
Absolutely hammered on the Hitting Season Patreon. The Phillies are, and Major League Baseball is in the playoffs now, so you can listen to us every Wednesday and talk about that and other stuff. Not Love Boat.
Phils. Not Love Boat. Let's go, Phils. You can find us everywhere you find your audio podcasts: iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Amazon Music, Podchaser, Deezer, and my personal favorite, Player FM. Please hit that subscribe button and leave a review. Check out our video podcast on YouTube, and if you could hit the subscribe button and leave a review for us there too, we would really appreciate it. You can email us at theloveboatproject@gmail.com, and you can also find us on Instagram and Facebook. Look for weekly reels and updates.
Oh, this episode, very easy reels to make.
Very easy reels.
There might be 40 reels this week.
I looked ahead at the next episode as I've sort of led on during this episode.
I like knowing, because now that we're wrapped here, I move on. We finish this gem and we move on to the next one.
Mike, we've had a question since episode number 1 of the first season.
Oh, my.
And that question is, who steers the ship?
Oh, no.
We may be able to answer that question in our next episode.
What the hell is going on here?
I don't know. Apparently they're listening to us.
Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah. Big moment coming up. We'll see.
See, that's the thing. Like, if the shows aren't going to be good, they can at least be instructive.
Because we're going to pay attention to these little stupid little Easter eggs to build the mythology just continues. So big moment coming up next week.
That's exciting. So that's next week. But for this week, we'll wrap it up. Again, a show unlike any other that we've seen. We may never see it again. Make sure you look for the Bricker and Dr. Barnes Night Doctor.
Dr. Barnes Night Surgeon.
Projects coming soon.
Coming soon.
Until then, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.